Welcome back to Radio Juxtapoz, the podcast that explores the contemporary art world with those that make it. My name is Doug Gillen, and today we're in conversation with the Nigerian artist Ken Nwadiogbu. Born in Lagos, Nigeria, Ken Nwadiogbu is a pioneering visual artist renowned for his hyper-realistic and socially conscious works that reflect on both his personal experiences and wider Nigerian culture.
So almost like building language, you make some mistakes and then you correct those mistakes till you get something perfect. I've not really gotten what perfect means yet, but I think I'm in a good place for where I know that I can explore in this path.
As you're going to hear in today's episode, he studied as a civil engineer at the University of Lagos. But funnily enough, it's not civil engineering that brings him to Radio Juxtapoz today, as Ken's passion for art led him down a different path. One where his creativity and unique perspective and completely unmatched determination have allowed him to flourish in a different realm. Ken is often celebrated as one of the leading voices in African contemporary art, particularly for his contribution to the contemporary realism movement, a term he coined himself to describe his fusion of contemporary and realism art. I first became aware of Ken's work actually relatively shortly after he first arrived in London, and since then I've seen about 3 different incarnations of what I kind of came to understand as his signature aesthetic. The core themes of identity, migration, belonging, and the African experiences have always ran through the heart of his output. Alongside his inclusion in countless art fairs around the world, solo exhibitions, the recent completion of his Masters at the Royal College of Art, Ken has also collaborated with multiple brands across the world and even the African giant himself, Burna Boy. As you're going to hear today, Ken is as insightful as he is fun. He's a proud ambassador of his homeland in Nigeria, and even as an artist that I've been familiar with for many years now, there's so much energy behind him, it really does feel like he's just getting started. As always, let us know what your thoughts are on this one. Hit us up on the socials over on Instagram at Radio Juxtapoz. All the links will be in the show notes to this episode. Let's get into it right now with Ken Nwadiogbu here on Radio Juxtapoz. 'Cause I'm just Ken, anywhere else I'd be 10. Ken.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Do me a favor, right? Because I know that this is such a fucking white way to start this. I've listened to every single interview you've done, and I've not quite landed the pronunciation of your
surname.
Before you say it, let me just make sure I can take a proper swing at it and just see how close I am. Kenechukwu Nwadiogbu.
Oh, you close. I'll give you 90%. You did well. No. I can confidently say you almost got it. So, okay. Kenechukwu.
Kenechukwu.
Yes, Chukwu. Yeah, you did that. Yeah. Nwadiogbu.
Nwadiogbu.
Correct. Perfect.
Nwadiogbu.
Yes, exactly.
There we go.
Exactly. Nwadiogbu is like a child that's inside a basket. Ogbu is like a basket. And it's like Moses, when you put Moses on the basket.
Bro, I fucking love African people. African people are the best. Because I'll be like, my name's Doug. It means, I don't know. You meet an African person and they're like, this part of my name is from Moses' basket and this one is from this. And you're like, oh, come on. Yeah, so say that again. So the first part is from...
Yeah, so... The first part is Kenechukwu, which means thank God. So Kene is thank. So if I want to say thank you, I say Kene, or if I want to say thank him, Keneya.
Does that get confusing?
No, not really. So sometimes in church, everybody's like Kenechukwu. I'm like,
do I stand up or what? Thanks for coming, guys.
So thank God, and then Nwadiogbu is like a child. Nwa is a child in a basket. Ogbu is a special basket. So like a special child. So thank God for this special child.
Fuck, that's beautiful. That's so cool. Because it's not even just like one half of it has the whole thing reads.
Yeah.
What's the sort of the etymology of that? Where does that come from?
Igbo. I'm from Anambra State.
Is that both parents?
Yeah, but both parents. My dad is from Awka North. My mom is from Onitsha. Yeah.
Okay. And where are they? Both in Nigeria?
Both in Nigeria. Well, my dad is late now. Passed away 2 years ago. Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
It's fine. But my mom is very much in Nigeria.
You still get a chance to see her?
Of course,
a lot?
man. I went back in February.
Are you a good son?
I'm now a good son. Yeah, I used to be very stubborn, and I think that's what got me into the art in the first place.
You go back a little bit? You go back? We're in London today for context, by the way.
I think the last time I went back was February, just this February. But before February, maybe 2022. Okay. So maybe like sometimes it can take 2 years. Sometimes 2
years goes by fast though at this age. You know, once you start getting, how old are you now?
I'm getting to 30 next 2 weeks. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Well, that's it. Once you hit 30, it's like time starts to go by real fast. It starts to speed up.
I was 22 for a long time, and I thought I'd still remain 20.
Yeah, there's a weird thing that happens though. You turn 30. I mean, I'm 38 now, so if you fucking imagine that.
Oh my God.
I'm pushing 40.
That means 8 years went by so fast.
Yeah, but it's crazy because in my head, I'm like, I'm 25.
I know.
And even when I sort of say someone asks me my age, in my head, I'm still like knocking a few years off. I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
You think when you're younger that as you get older, you're going to always feel that age that you are. Because everyone else sees you as that age.
Yeah.
They look at me, they see a 38-year-old.
I don't see a 38.
But when I look at myself, I'm still 25. I'm still like...
Because you don't see yourself in the mirror all the time.
It's crazy. And that kind of perception of yourself, it starts to really change. How do you feel going into 30 then? You're in a comfortable place? You're happy with everything?
Yeah, I'm blessed. I'm grateful.
It's a big couple of years for you.
Yeah, it's been a really life-changing couple of years for me. I can't be more grateful. Yeah.
Why? What's happened in the last couple of years that spurred this on? Because I've followed your work for a long time, right?
Yeah.
We've known each other just sort of in the periphery. We've known each other in the periphery, and I knew that this was going to happen at some point, and I've always just been kind of waiting for that right. When did it feel like it was the right time? Because I've seen, I know I asked you a question and now I'm fucking talking, but because I've seen your work change so much over the years, and I was like, okay, he's finding it. He's finding it.
You know, it's like a Curtis Marshall coming of age story, isn't it? Yeah,
right.
It's like I used to do this before, but then I've kind of known where my language kind of lies, and it's almost like building language. You make some mistakes and then you correct those mistakes till you get something perfect. I've not really gotten what perfect means yet, but I think I'm in a good place for where I know that I can explore in this path and I can reach somewhere that, that's very unknown to me. Because the path almost feels, the whole process, the whole practice now feels very unknown and very spontaneous. And I like that because it's from that spontaneous event that, mastery comes in. But I'm in a very good place now because I've always wanted to go to school to study art because I studied engineering. So it was a bit of a confusing space I was in, as an engineering graduate, but then practicing art. But now going to the Royal College of Art and actually doing art and coming out with a master's, I think that's just very fulfilling for me at this moment. Yeah. There
was a big period between these two though, wasn't there? What made you want to do the master's? What did you want out of it?
I wanted to feel like an artist, I think. I used to be an artist.
You were exhibiting at that point before. I knew your work before you did the masters, right?
Of course. But you still feel like an artist. But I wanted to hold something that says, I'm good at this. And I felt like exhibitions was not doing it for me. I just wanted something that, because coming from Nigeria, man, certificate means a lot, doesn't it? Like, you go get your BSc and your parents think that you're now an engineer, right? Without even practicing, but the BSc itself, going through that study, that whole school mindset, you tend to feel more respected as an engineer. So masters for me was almost that. It was, first of all, it was building a community in London because I had a community, but I didn't have enough people. I didn't know enough people. I didn't know many people. So I wanted to build that community in school, which I eventually did. I met incredible friends. Secondly, I wanted to know if anybody knew what they were doing.
What was the answer on that?
Nobody knew what they were doing. Nobody knows what they are doing. I'll be honest with you about that. And then thirdly, I wanted to feel like, I deserve to be a visual artist. And, a lot of people would just tell me, you didn't go to school. You're not, you're still playing around. And, the masters just kind of does it for me. It makes me know that, I'm in a space where I know that I've done a lot and I've worked for it and I deserve it. So
even with the exhibitions, with the collabs, everything like that was what you needed to feel that validation. Yeah. I don't usually like to get my validation from people or my validation from the activities or the projects I do. I just find something very strong to give me that validation. And for me, masters was it. And when I got the masters, I was the happiest that I've ever been. I had my girlfriend come through as well. So it was the best moment, man. It was the best moment. That's beautiful. Did it change, coming from engineering background, traditional Nigerian family where you're coming and doing the visual arts, did this in any way change the perception that your mum felt of you?
Completely. Before my dad passed away, I told him I was going to go to school and do masters, and he went. I don't think I've seen him smile like that in a while, because he kept thinking that I was wasting my life and my time doing art after going into engineering. And just for me to tell him I'm going to do masters, and I'm going to do masters in UK.
In the Royal College of Art.
I didn't even know it was the Royal College of Art at that time.
You said the word royal in there, and that sounds fancy, man.
I know, right? I kept my dreams so strong. I came to London, and my friend just got accepted to the Royal College of Art. And I was like, wow, the Royal College of Art. Yeah. And I'm like, if she could get accepted, I have a good chance of getting accepted. So I kind of applied for it. And it became even bigger than what I thought. I got a scholarship. It just became. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful time. And many people in the Royal College of Art already knew who I was. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool.
It's like that like kind of low key celebrity status in there. You're like,
I didn't want to say anything yet, but then I think somebody figured it out. And when I got to school the next day, everybody was like, "Oh wow, I didn't know you were a big shot." I'm like, "What?" And then,
I'm gonna be. You think I am now? You just wait, baby.
Just wait. Yeah, but it's been. My mom has been so excited about it. She's told all her friends, "Oh, my son is a master's graduate from the Royal College."
Before it was, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about Ken.
Let's talk about the medical doctor and the lawyer, not this wannabe artist.
Were they always supportive of your? Because it's a big journey going from Nigeria to London.
It was
art off the back of kind of a hope and a dream.
Yeah.
Were they always supportive?
Well, because of the love I have for them, I'll say yes. They've always been supportive.
I want the real answers here, Ken.
Well. To be honest, they weren't. They thought I was wasting my life. I actually thought I was wasting my life, but I felt like, I'd rather just waste my life doing what I love than waste my life doing what I don't love. Because in both ways, I eventually waste my life eventually. So they didn't really like it. They hated the decision. They showed me how much they hated the decision, like so many times, that I had to even leave house and rent a place and actually just packed my load on a Sunday when they were in church and left. Yeah, that's how crazy it was. Yeah. But what happens is that my mom always found a way to show me the love that I needed, even though she gets really scared. She would always still come through. When I have my exhibitions or when I have a big break.
What is it that drives that fear? Do you think for your parents or someone like your parents of having their son be chasing their dream and being an artist? What is it? Where does that fear come from? Do you think?
Every parent wants their child to be successful, not just in what they're doing, but financially as well. You know, every parent wants their child to be able to buy a house and go get a wife, you know, and have kids, you know, because that's what they did as well. So I think the fear came from, we've not seen we don't know any visual artists. Like every time I see artists, I see them on the roadside, you know, because that's my introduction to art. On the roadside, you see them painting like our president or some actors and movie stars. And when we're driving to school, my mom is taking us to school, we'd see all of these things at the roadside. And so when I wanted to even go into the art, I went to meet those artists on the roadside to ask, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? So in her mind, she thought, I am going to throw away my dream of being this incredible engineer. Because anything I put my mind in, I always try to do it very well. So she thought I was trading away that dream to kind of pursue something that was not going to make me have the home I want to have the wife I want to have. And that fear came in, you know, you're going to be broke for the rest of your life, you know? But I knew that there was a kind of silver lining to this, you know? After watching a lot of documentaries of Kerry James Marshall and of Damien Hirst and of David Hockney, I knew that there was no way people are selling. I'm not really into the sales part, but I used to tell my mom, like, people are selling for over 10,000. And look at what they're making, mom. Like, why can't I do the same thing?
Hirst is a great example of that.
Hirst is a great man.
If he can fucking do it, I can do it.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, I know it's going to be very difficult. And I think that difficulty is what even brought me to London, to kind of play the big game and see what I can do. But in the whole sense of thing, my goal is just to find fulfillment in making the paintings and find the most incredible path that I can follow, and also to give my mom everything that she wants to have, you know, the house she wants to have, the cars she wants to have, you know, tell her that, you know, mom, art got you all this now. You know, so that's the big purpose.
Outside of the family, what was, you know, you talk about your experience of art being just, you know, murals at the side of the road. Was there did you see visual artists?
I didn't. Funny enough, I didn't. My earliest exposure to art was, first of all, it was roadside. Then it was in school, my first year in engineering. I think this was what messed everything up for me, honestly. My first year in engineering, I was reading. I was a serious student, reading and acing all my exams. And then my friend comes to me when I was reading a course at that time. And it's like, yo, someone is drawing, bro. Like, and everyone is gathering to see, everyone was gathered to see that drawing. So I left to what I was reading, left it in the reading room and left. And I went to this place, and this guy was making this incredible drawing of the dean of my school at that time. It was that moment, that eureka moment, that made me go, I want to do that.
Who was the guy?
Dixon. He's a very, very good friend. He kind of stopped now. He's got
a real job.
Yeah, he's got a real job now. But we kind of talk sometimes. I saw it and I was like, bro, I need to be your friend and I need to learn how to do this. Then he introduced me to...
And this is hyperreal.
Hyperreal.
Yeah. He was doing that hyperreal pencil,
you
know, fucking photography level execution of
with the pause and the... I'd never seen that before, you know?
It's funny for me that it's now become so synonymous with what I see from Nigerian art.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many of these hyperreal pencil, graphite, these drawings. And it feels like if I saw that for me would be like the least accessible thing. Like I would never look at that hyperreal thing and think I could do that. Like I would look at Hirst and think, I could do that. I could do that. But I'd never look at a hyperreal portrait and think that's easy.
Yeah, because it has to interest you, doesn't it? Like the money side of it does not interest us, because we know that, you know, you do your math, right? Over 1 million artists, only 3 get to make it in the art world, you know? You do your math, like, that's not interesting. So I'd rather do what is exciting to me, which was hyperreal at that time, you know? So introduced me to Kevin Okafor, and that was it. That was the boom.
Was he the OG?
Oh, that was the OG. Yeah. That's where I learned. That's where every hyper-real artist learned.
Hi, my name is Kelvin Okafor, and I'm a hyperrealistic pencil portrait artist. So the genre of art that I create is called hyperrealism. It's a very intricate form of art. I don't really like to label it. I just like to call it drawing in a lifelike manner. I will describe my work as something tangible when you see it in the flesh that can prompt an emotional response. So what art means to me, art means expression.
I keep telling him every time I see him in London, I'm like, yo, bro, you created a mess in Nigeria. You created a whole community and a whole generation of hyper-real artists, and you don't even know it. You're here in London doing what you're doing, and we're back in Nigeria going, how does he do this?
Every single kid on their notebook is drawing that way.
We show ourselves, we send it to ourselves, and we get like, oh, you figured that out. How did you figure that out? You're like, oh, look at his trick. You know, in this stage 3, he did this, and then stage 7, I see the difference. You know, we kind of like start to understand and almost read his work like a novel.
And kind of staying on that, like, how do you look at something like that and then figure out how to do it? Because you can't just go from 0 to 100.
Of course, but at the same time, when you practice, because I used to draw every day, so when you practice, first of all, I believe that anything can be painted. There's nothing, water, air, nothing, rain, snow, that cannot be painted. That's the first thing. It was from working and drawing that I realized that the whole world was based in light and shadows. And so needed to understand from Kevin Okafor's work was how is he applying the light and how is he applying the shadows. So once I see that way of application, I'm like, okay, if this can make it look this real, if I apply the light and shadows in this work, it probably do have the same effect, you know. So it was just kind of reading his practice in a very logical way and in a direct way, and figuring out how to kind of replicate that with the paintings that we do, or with the images that we make.
How quickly did that start to take over the desire to study and be an engineer?
Very quickly. Very quickly. And once I saw that drawing, I took my first paper. I started to make realistic work, because before I just do caricatures of my lecturers in my notebook. So my friends would see that, and that's why they thought I had an interest in it. So I'd wake. We used to do it all midnight. So we lie and we say we're going for like midnight reading, but it's not midnight reading. We're going with our sketch pads and pencil, and then we go to the architectural department, and then we bring it out, and then we start drawing, and then loads of people start watching us at the back. Now we used to be like. It used to be like a thing. Yeah, it used to be like a thing.
That's got to be, is that Nigerian specific? Like, I've never heard of that anywhere else.
No, it's Nigerian specific. It's Nigerian specific, because I will have my sketch pad, he will have his sketch pad, and we'll be drawing. And the next day, more people join. And the next day, more people join. And the next day, more. And then I started to get, okay, this is fun.
It's a little thing. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and then I just got really obsessed with trying to make art. You know, trying to do drawings, realism. I opened my friend said, oh, can you draw my girlfriend? They paid me. Someone said, can you draw my wife? They paid me. I was like, wow, this is a business. So I opened a small business called Kenna Creations. And I took like very few orders of people's drawing their wives and their girlfriends for their birthdays. After that, while doing that, I stumbled on Njideka actually in this beautiful documentary and interview where she was like, I draw because I want to draw, because I want to do what I love to do. And I kind of missed it, you know. I was excited about the drawing and I got really interested, but then when I opened the business, it felt like I was now doing it for other people.
It's a trade.
Oh man. And it almost killed my love for it. But then I saw Njideka's documentary and I kind of paused on what I was doing. And at that same time, there's this incredible collector from London who just messaged me on Instagram. Instagram was the way, and said, I'm coming to like Lagos. bring any work of your choice and I'll buy it. I'm like, what? You don't want me to draw your wife, your brother, nobody's having a birthday. Yeah. It's like, nah, anything I draw, I should bring it to the Wheat Baker. It's a hotel in Lagos, and I'll buy it. So I took a taxi. I drew something. I drew my sister. Well, the work was called Gnaw. Like my sister was kind of tearing a piece of paper, and there was like a 3D effect with that. Because I was so interested in Trompe l'oeil. So I did that work, rolled it, went to a taxi, took the taxi there, told the taxi to hold on. I didn't have money at that time. Told the taxi to hold on, let me go sell this painting, get some money and pay the taxi. So I took the painting into the hotel, the lobby, and he's like, oh, come. He opened the work, said, oh, what do you want for it? And I knew that if I gave him the price of my commissions, then there's no difference. So I kind of times it by 2, and he went, done, send me your account. And he sent it, and I was like, whoa, what?
Should have times it by 3.
And he's like, yo, how did I come? I said, I came with a taxi. He's like, oh, how much is your taxi? I told him how much my taxi is, paid for the taxi, told me, do I want to come and meet his friends? And I was like, yeah. And then I went into this place of collectors and like people who were art enthusiasts and gallerists. And that was
Nigerian or Western?
Nigerian galleries. That's where I met Oliver Emonwu, who is the owner of Omenka Gallery. That's where we did our first show, I and Arinze and many of my friends.
Did that like open up your eyes to see that there's an institution here, there's an established art scene with market
I never went to a gallery before. Mm-hmm. After that time, one of the collectors, Frank Momo, told me to follow him. He's going to take me to many of the galleries in Lagos. So he showed me like galleries. That's when I saw works by Tola Wewe, like incredible contemporary Nigerian artists. That's when I started to get into the art space. And I was like, this is so hidden. And it's so like hidden from the rest of Nigeria. And it's like in this small bubble, in this small spot where all of them know themselves and they don't want any other person to come in.
Do they intentionally keep it that way?
I think so. So what we did was that we broke the barrier and we're like, nah, we don't want this barrier, We want it to be, want everyone to see it, We want to take it out there. So we did like a lot of interviews. We got our friends who were PR people to like publicize the exhibitions. We had loads of people who were not even artists coming for. Now we kind of broke the gate.
So you could feel it.
I could feel it. I could feel
that at the time that something was happening.
Yeah, we knew that something was happening. We knew that we were creating something. In fact, it's there from Artist Connect. So when I saw all of these things, I was like, I told the collector, Frank Momo, I said, you know what? I need some funds. I need to organize something called the Artist Connect. And we need to get at least 300 artists to a space. And they brought the funds. I collaborated with my friend Fola David, who just broke the Guinness World Record now.
For what?
For the largest drawing in the world. He broke it like 2 days ago.
Okay. Yeah. The largest drawing in the world.
Largest drawing in the world.
We want to get him on. The interview's over, Ken.
Yeah, he just broke the record. So we came together and we said, you know what, we need to bring 300 artists together. We brought the 300 artists. Arinze was part of it. Oscar. That's when we met all of them. It kicked off from there. And tons of Nigerians started to draw. Tons of Nigerians started to paint. And it's just been an incredible journey ever since, because I felt like I had a purpose, in the art space in Nigeria, and the purpose was kind of bringing a community together.
So you've built this thing, then what brings you to London?
To show people that you could do more. Aside just my personal gain, which is to explore London,
Did you have a sense of this is where I need to be to become an artist? I need to be here, or was it something else?
Not to become an artist in a way, but I think is in this space of trying to become a successful artist. I don't know what successful artist really means, honestly, but I think for me, it's more of like to have better opportunities and to show not just to have better opportunities, but to also make those opportunities very interested in bringing new Nigerian artists as well. Because the more Nigerian artists get to show in certain spaces or get to be involved in certain conversations, the more there is focus on other Nigerian artists, which is kind of, I've mentioned almost like 5 Nigerian artists already in this conversation.
Yeah. And that's important. I love that.
In a way, that journey, my journey, and the journey of people who have come before me, they have sort of brought people's eyes down to the country. And for me, I'm just part of that journey. I'm just part of the people who's, propagate, like shares culture and tells people that, there are more incredible artists out there in Nigeria, and even show Nigerian artists that it's not difficult to, to grow and explore the world and do big things and have big projects. Being in Nigeria, they say you have to come out from the box to understand how to break the barriers in the box, or how to increase the box, right? So I had to come out from Nigeria to know what are the necessary things we need, or how can we sort out certain things in Nigeria, or how can we even push more artists to believe that they can actually be artists in Nigeria. So this is kind of things that we like to do.
How has this experience being in London changed the way you think about Lagos and home? If I can use the word home.
Yeah. I actually,
that's a loaded word, right?
No, home. Yeah, home. Yeah, I can say Lagos is home, because Lagos is home is a feeling, isn't it? It's not like a place. When I go to Lagos, I know I have that feeling of home.
You get that here?
Yeah, I started to get that here. Newly, I started to cook the food that I like. So it smells like home. I started to there's now I found part of, like, I think 3 communities of incredible artists that I think I call brothers, right? Which is very interesting to me, because I get people who I can discuss with, dialogue with, laugh with, so it's starting to feel like home. Yes, it changed my perspective of Lagos, honestly, because I really used to hate Nigeria. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the honesty.
I really want the honest answers, because I think that we're not here to make a tourism campaign for Nigeria.
Of course,
and it's said from a place of love rather than a place of, rather than just shitting on something.
Yeah, I used to really hate the country, because the opportunities were so little. The stereotype was too much, Oh, what did you study? What are you doing? I'm a visual artist. You're a visual artist, you're a painter. I'm like, yeah, I paint. Oh, but I studied civil engineering. You studied civil engineering? Why did you leave that? So you get this feeling that you are not being welcomed as a visual artist, and it's difficult. It's more difficult to be yourself as a visual artist, to explore, to create new things, to have big projects as a visual artist. And then there's a lot of corruption, especially in the art world as well. Galleries are not paying artists well. Certain things are just a bit messy in Nigeria. So I really didn't like it being there. But when I came to London, I started to, and that's why when I did the show, I called it a different perspective. I started to shift my perspective, because one thing has a million perspectives. You just have to know what perspective you're looking at it. So now I started looking at Nigeria as a cultural place, and I love the culture. I love the music. I love the art. I love the people. I love the communities. I'm not too focused now on whether the infrastructure is good, whether there is enough galleries for artists, whether there's enough opportunities for artists. I'm now more focused about, oh man, I miss my guy, or yeah, I miss the food, or I miss just walking on the road and, somebody is saying, yo, I love what you wear. I'm like, yo, my G, I miss that, but when you start to travel, and when you start to migrate, and when you start to even journey around, you start to understand the importance of culture and the importance of who you are in a broader narrative.
When you're in London, what's one thing you miss about Lagos? And when you're in Lagos, what's one thing you miss about London?
Good question. What's one thing I miss about Lagos? I think I miss... Oh man, this is going to be so cheesy. I think I miss entering a place and somebody going, Ken? Are you Ken? Oh wow! Oh my God! I see your work. I see your drawing. Can I take a? I'm like, everywhere I go in Nigeria, like I get that feedback. Whenever I come to London, everybody like, oh, who are you? You know. Yeah. I think I miss that. I miss feeling seen. You know, in Nigeria. When I'm in Nigeria, I think I miss the peace of London. Yeah, yes, London can be very...
It's funny, we're sitting outside a train station right now in the city.
But I can imagine that is more peaceful than being in Nigeria, isn't it?
Okay. I've never been to Nigeria. Is it an intense, hectic environment?
It is something. In Nigeria, you can't just walk on the road.
Okay.
Man, police will stop you. Who are you, man?
Really?
Come here, bro.
I picture it the other way. I picture it where everyone's just walking in the road and no one gives a shit.
Everyone walks on the road, but it's like me with the dreadlocks and with the earrings. I can't do that. I can't just enter a car and drive. I get stopped by the police all the time. So when I went back to Nigeria the last time, I had to have security there because police cannot stop police. Can they? So it's more like, I have a police here, so it's a bit more calmer. And then the piece of the security as well. There are places that I used to visit 2-3 years ago, 4 years, 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, but I can't visit them now because it's kind of become more, the tension there has become higher. Tension between the people and tension between the people, they see a guy who looks very well built, they want to extort, they want to find a way to, take the money. Mm-hmm. So I don't miss that about Nigeria. I love London because, you walk around and nobody really gives a shit, and
I think that's one of my favorite things about London.
Yeah,
like literally no one gives a shit.
Nobody's asking you for money or like please leave, But Nigeria, everyone looks at you, they size you up, they look at your shoe, look at your hair, bro, come here, man. Give me some money. And then you're like, you don't have money, and then somebody comes on the back and hits you on the head. Give me that money, Jory. And then you're like, oh God, I'm back in this country.
I think we're painting a great picture of Nigeria.
No. But like I said, the culture.
Yeah, but that's home, right?
That's home. You said one thing I missed. So that is like one of the few things that that I used to be worried about. But every other thing, like the food, the people, the parties, the fun. Once you can get from one place to another, to the next place safely, you enjoy Nigeria. But it's in that journey. That's where all of this bad
the murkiness happens.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Have you seen it start to change?
Yeah, it started to change when I went back in February. There was a lot of change.
So quite patriarchal, quite male dominated, or is it less so?
Oh no! Oh, women are taking it. Oh man, no, don't. Women are taking that shit now, bro. In like Nigeria, bro, like many of my female friends are like in top positions now. In fact, the men are suffering now. The men are suffering now because even their girlfriends are like, you know who I am? I'm the queen. You gotta pay my bills, bro. So women are enjoying now. There's still a lot that needs to be done, obviously, but I'd say that there's a lot more attention to women who can do things and who can make things work. Yeah. And there's less of that. I'm a wife. I have to be in the kitchen, and then I'm a husband. I have to go. Nah, there's now a lot of dialogue now on what a woman should do and what a woman can do and how to kind of free the woman to do whatever she wants to do in some way.
That's good to hear, because again, all of this just kind of comes for me of just speaking with people, and until I kind of go there and spend some time, you kind of just...
You've not been to Nigeria.
No, you start to paint pictures of what it looks like in your head, and every time you talk to someone, it changes a little bit. You just get a little bit of detail filled in, I'm going to jump back to your actual art. So, looking from that artist that I'd seen in those early days of kind of coming to London, and then looking at your work now. Now, I know that there's been a master's in there, but it is so different. The work has completely evolved. There's color where there wasn't color before, and a lot of it, and it's like this huge switch. What were kind of some of the key stages in building this work? How important was the masters in there in developing not just that sense of accomplishment for yourself, but actual the technical and conceptual approach to your practice? What are some of these key stages?
When I came to London, that's when I got familiar with Kerry Marshall's work. And there's one work I love, a portrait of the artist and it's a shadow of his former self. And that is such a very powerful painting. But that also showed a shift in Kerry Marshall's artistic practice, where he started to add colors, different from his collage and the sketches he does. Another thing I enjoyed about the work when seeing it the first time was the idea that the collector who bought the work put it in his toilet for like 25 years and never knew the value of it. So one of the things I saw in that, there are two things I kind of took from that. One is the artist is not tied to an idea or style. The artist can evolve, and it's okay to evolve, right? And secondly is that evolution might not be accepted in the beginning, but eventually it might be the precipice of whole universe of new ideas that come from that one piece. So I was so interested in making that one work, that where all these other works come from.
Did you make this work?
Yes, it's called The Blank Pages. And funny enough, it's not sold. It's not sold. It's one of these...
This whole podcast is basically an advert for this fucking painting.
It's not sold. It's like, it's one of the
most important one in the collection. And it's in a toilet.
What happened was, I knew I wanted to bring colors in my work. But what kind of colors do I bring? Now, I came to London and it was so cold. And so all I kept talking about was how Nigerian heat was so good. And not just Nigerian heat, but, the color in Nigeria as well. All the reds and orange and like, you'd see it, you feel it,
In the streets.
In the streets, everywhere. So I started to play. I was going on Amazon and I saw this thing called the flare camera, which is a thermographic camera. And it kind of captures like thermal images. So I was like, this is a good color palette, right? Why's no one using this color palette? This is a very interesting color palette. And so I kind of adopted the color palette. Not necessarily the way the image looks, but the color of the image to kind of create something that felt like it was burning. Maybe a burning conversation, or these people who have a burning feel of energy, like energy just around them or around the places that I find myself in. So I adopted the color palette, but it was not enough. I started to think, because my friend as well said, if I get to the Royal College of Art, I should stop everything I'm doing and actually immerse myself in what I can do and not what I used to do. So I stopped.
That's a fucking hard thing to ask an artist.
I know. It was terrible. Because the whole year, I didn't sell any. In fact, I didn't even want to sell any work. Collectors, like people were like, Ken, what happened? Like you just went off grid. I'm like, I canceled all my shows that year. Like it was crazy. It was a crazy decision, but the decision was solely, like it was just on that. Stop everything you're doing and think of what next you can do. So the next thing I could do was to start trying and use all this color palette. And so this Kerry Marshall's work was a very good inspiration, because then I understood how we use the black and how we could play with black in different forms, that black was not black anymore. Black's there to become gray and all these different grades. So I started to think of, my yellow in that same form, how can I break the yellow?
Yellows are his black.
Yeah, he's black. How can I break my oranges as well in different forms? So all of these things started to play in my head. But it was not enough. 1-2 paintings and it didn't just hit it. Then a huge part of the transition was when I got a message that the RCA Black, which is it's like a community of black artists in the RCA, and they were going for a tour at Frank Bolin's studio.
Okay, wow.
That was it.
They only invited the black artists?
well, we
Talk to me about that,
Ken. Come on, bro. Like, we need that. We needed that.
I'd be turning up with my backpack like, hi, Frank.
Hey, brother.
Not today, buddy.
Oh my God. Well, I'd assume if you came, we'll let you in. You could pass out. You could pass out for a black man.
I'll take that, man. I'll take that.
But we went to this studio. I didn't even know what I was expecting. I was so tired that day. I didn't want to make the trip. I said I was going to make the trip because Frank Bolin is one of my favorite artists, but I'd never seen his work live, so it never really connected to me in such a very deep way. And then we're going to his studio, and all of those incredible works, I saw how it was done, and it was done in this small studio where the canvas couldn't even fit the wall, so the canvas was like bend. And I saw all of the ways they make the paintings. I'm like, wait, what? I was thinking every masterpiece came from this huge space. I mean, this huge thousands of people working on a painting. But it just came from this humble, normal space, and with this attraction to how the space makes it work, Or if I pour paint here because the space is this way, it'll flow in a different way. So I saw how they put the works on the floor, where in my mind I thought, wow, putting the work on the floor doesn't it, make the work.
My work is sacred. It doesn't go on the floor.
It's not go on the floor, but they put on the floor, they step on it, And if you look at even George Bassett's work, he also did the same thing. He kind of paint on the floor as well. So there was a lot of floor, putting the work on the floor that was very interesting. That was interesting to me. But then it was more of the way the colors mixed. So you pour blue and you pour yellow, and then when the colors mix, it forms green. So you didn't mix the color in your palette. It was mixing on the canvas, and I went back home. And the first thing I did, I took a blank canvas, put it on the floor, and I just started pouring all the paint. I poured all the paint. I slept, woke up, did more, slept, woke up, did. And I created this very weird, like, abstract work. I've always wanted to do abstract work. In fact, when I got to the RCA, I was trying some abstract work. But the problem is that when I try some abstract work, because it's fully hand, right? I feel like I'm just cheating it, like, what is that,
It didn't really feel abstract.
Yeah, it didn't feel abstract. But when I did it on the floor and the colors were moving by themselves, and I just make a bit tilt and it'll mix in a way, and it became so exciting to me. And then when all of this was done, I was like, now we needed the painting. And then I put the painting in and everything just became perfect. And I took it to school, and everyone was like, yo, what is this? How did you do it? Like, where did this come from? Yeah, he's a different guy. And that's how my journey just kind of started.
That's brilliant. I know that's why we only let the black people into Blacktown. That's why. It's a superpower.
It's a superpower. But yeah, it did everything to me. So it made me start exploring new colors, purple, blue, brilliant blue. It made me start exploring how I started to buy like books on color mixing, how this color mixes with this color, what it forms. And now it's just become like so exciting to me because I never know what the end looks like. Before, I could already see what the end looks like. I'm like, okay, it's going to look like that because everything is drawing and everything is painting.
Yeah, especially if you're looking at something that's a hyper-real portrait.
Exactly.
Like the idea, make it look like
exactly
this.
it.
Make it look like this photograph. Make it look like this person. Make it as real as possible.
Yeah.
And now you get to just completely shift that way of thinking.
Shifted it. And even putting the painting on the work now, it becomes a lot more exciting because some part of the abstract work, you don't want to cover it, but you have to cover it. And it's just that sense of like making these choices, these very, very delicate choices that can shift the painting, to become what it is or away from what it is, I used to say like it mirrors kind of the choices of life. You make these certain choices and either to cover something up or to expose something. And these choices kind of make you become who you want to be. So the same way I'm making the choices on canvas. So it's been it's been a very interesting shift in my practice.
That's beautiful. And now that you're out, do you miss that kind of that environment? Do you miss that kind of like that place of sharing and kind of like personal development? Or do you feel like I'm happy to be out of that, I'm done, I want to just go keep experimenting and kind of keep pushing on my own away from that?
I still have people. I still have a community I'm part of. I still go out with friends to see exhibitions. I even prefer that than going alone. I think I prefer just working myself in the studio so that people don't tell me what it should look like or what, when somebody comes and sees the work, when you're not finished, they're like, yeah, that triggers you. You're like, what's the problem now? What's the wrong with this painting?
Why are they not reacting the way that I need them to? Like, that's not the reaction I want right now.
Yeah, I just finished a project with hospital rooms, and when we started the painting on the wall, like the mural painting, people would go and be like, what's this? And in my mind, I was like, God, no, I'm back to this, But it was always good. It's always good for them to see the finished work because then they go, whoa, that's where it was heading towards, So for me, I just like to show that finished work and just have that process to myself and enjoy the process because it's what excites me. It's what excites me about being an artist, to be able to enjoy the process fully, to dance in my studio. I know how somebody saying, what's Ken doing there? Even in the RC, I used to dance and people would just come and stare at me in the studio and I'm like, and I try and keep myself proper. But I like to dance, I like to laugh, I like to play music, I like to watch podcasts, and I just like to be myself and freely just paint. And then when I'm done painting, then present it and have people like really excited about it.
When you're starting a painting, then let me fucking get this question out. When you're starting a painting, is the final image that we see on a canvas what you originally started out to make, or is there a process in there where things just start to go and take their own different directions? Like, yeah. How does it work for you?
Yeah, sometimes you have an idea of what you want, but it never becomes what you want. So many times, I can't, like, at this time now, I've left it. I'm like, just do what you want to do, man. Just be how you want to be. First of all, I take some pictures. I take pictures everywhere I go, right? In London, in Nigeria, when I travel to Singapore, I always take pictures, and these pictures kind of mirror my experiences, because I'm experiencing what I'm taking or what I'm picturing, right? I should take a picture of you with the camera like this. That's a good work.
I only brought one camera with me, so unfortunately it's being used.
But I take pictures, and these pictures I just store them on my laptop in a hard disk, and sometimes I go around these pictures to look for the conversations that I can bring out from these pictures, from these images. Sometimes I fuse like 3, 4, 5 images together to make one painting, like the one at the back, the trees and the cup and this and the cat. All of these, I've taken these pictures and then I start to pour the paint, and whatever the paint does, it does, right? And when I see the finished abstract painting, that kind of drives me to what to paint on it sometimes. And sometimes I really think of the image to paint on it before even starting the abstract work. So all in all, my biggest goal is to make sure that the abstract work and what I'm painting outside, they kind of fit and they tell the story exactly how I want it to be told. Or if not exactly how I want it to be told, but they kind of embody the emotion of what the story is. So I let it just be what it is, and at the end, most, in fact, maybe 99% of the time, it has always come through.
And are you thinking in terms of bodies of work? Are you thinking in terms of exhibitions now? Is that how you, when you start to build a series, are you thinking about that kind of, that big concept? You know, your latest show. In fact, I think a lot of your shows really deal on this theme of I guess, home, belonging, migration. These seem to be quite permanent themes. Is that how you approach a single piece of work and thinking about the bigger picture?
I used to believe that every artwork is a book, not a chapter. A painting is a whole finished book, it's a published book. And an exhibition is a library of these books, right? A painting is not a chapter and the exhibition is the book. That reduces the painting to one idea. So I have these experiences that I go through and they kind of talk about certain things. And for a painting, I want to put all of that information of that thing I'm trying to talk about in that one painting. Most times people just get the one picture of it, but if you look at the painting, you start to see layers and you start to peel layers. I'm always adding symbolism here and there, like images here and there, to kind of talk about one thing, so that it makes a whole book. So for me, it's I never really think about the whole exhibition. I think about the one message, and that message I put in the work, and then I put the next one in the work, and I put the next one in work, and eventually that turns into a library of maybe resilience or home or something. When I went back to Nigeria, I took some pictures and I wanted to create works of these images I took in Nigeria, and then that became an exhibition of I Belong Here, which is about, you know, home and belonging and where we kind of find ourselves in. So all of these paintings are they have their own personal information or message.
Where is here when you say I belong here?
So it's like, for me, I call it a triple entendre.
Okay.
So I belong here is like me saying, you know, because I felt so lost in the hustle and bustle of London. I belong here is like how would I call it? It's like me just confirming that because I don't look like the people here, because I don't sound like the people here, doesn't mean I don't belong here. I belong here means that belonging is a personal journey, you know, of being comfortable and being strong and being powerful where you are. So for me, I just love the title because it felt like I could belong in anywhere I find myself in, even though there are all of these bureaucracy or issues going on here and there. And then I belong here as well is that I belong in Lagos, even though I'm in London, even though I'm in New York, even though I'm in wherever I am, I belong in Lagos, you know. And then I belong here in some way is about home building, you know. I used to make this story about one of my friend, not my friend, but she came from the village. She used to live with us. My mom brought her from the village, family friend. In the beginning, she was so shy. So when I came to London, you know, stayed in London for like 2 years, went back this February, she felt like she was the owner of the home. She opened the door for me. Hi, Ken, do you want anything to eat or drink? I'm like, what? Yeah, so it's just that feeling of home building. What can we do to make where we are feel like home? And how can we do it? Right. One, you know, some people feel like their house, a place they are in is not home because they don't feel heard. They don't feel powerful enough. You know, they don't feel safe enough, you know. And it's that if you put everything right, you can definitely build home wherever you are, even though the person does not kind of belong in that space. So for me, it's just about home building, you know, about me, my personal journey of belonging in a space where I don't belong, and then also is my culture and my identity as a Nigerian.
When you came here, and I know that migration is such a prominent theme in your work, did you see yourself as an immigrant? Did you see yourself as someone coming in, as someone from not from here?
You know, when I came, In Nigeria, like, you're chilled, like, yo. When I came to London, you don't immediately feel it. But once you start to see it, your mind changes. Like, oh, wow. Like, the opportunities become more difficult. You know, your presence become less important. You know, then you start to feel it, like, yeah. And then people will always, you know, say, you are the immigrant here. You know, they'll always call you the black artist, you know, the African artist. Oh yeah, he's from Nigeria. You know, I've never heard that before. I'm from Nigeria because I'm in Nigeria, so nobody has to say I'm from Nigeria, you know. But now he's from Nigeria, you know. Oh, I can sense your accent is Nigerian. Then it starts to dawn on you, like, oh wow, I'm an immigrant. You know, I'm an African person in a space where the world just becomes bigger in some way. It becomes larger, and you start to get scared about your place in the world. Not necessarily your place in Nigeria anymore, but your place in the world. Then you start to get scared about your identity as well. What does it even mean, me being a Nigerian? You know, what does that mean? You know, I never used to think that it was important till I got away from Nigeria. Then I realized that culture was important. Then I realized that language was important. Then I realized that portraying these things in my work and in the way I do my business is important. And I realized as well that everything I do is a representation of where I come from as well. So there's a lot of pressure in trying to do it right and try to do it well.
As an ambassador,
you know. So in all ways, it starts to dawn on you slowly. And once it dawns on you, it becomes a bit more, it becomes challenging sometimes. But it becomes also exciting because then you are kind of living, you're kind of embodying a whole country inside you. And you're kind of like the ambassador, making people know about, you know, your culture.
That's beautiful. I think we all carry that to an extent when we move. I mean, my culture shift isn't even nearly as dramatic, you know, from Scotland to London. But you do feel that sense of like, I know that the people that I'm around might not have many other people from Scotland that they meet. I might be the only person from Scotland that this person meets in the next 10 years. So whenever someone says to them Scotland, they are going to be thinking about that time that they met that guy. So what kind of guy are you going to be, and what interpretation of Scottish culture are you going to land these people?
Yeah, I remember I had an interview one time, and you know, the lady knew I was Nigerian, and just like something we were talking about, that Nigerian time. And I got there so early. And she's like, oh, wow, you're going to change my mindset of Nigerian people now. It's like, you know, you are carrying the whole culture of Nigeria around your back.
So that's why you always turn up early to things.
I turn up early. I want to show them that there's a different Nigerian. They should start thinking that, you know, Nigerian time is a myth.
And then they're going to get a whole shock. And then they're at 1 o'clock like, what the fuck is this? Oh man, look, we're kind of coming towards the end. I was really interested in what I'm looking at just now on your canvases. I can see these fabrics, and you just started to show me these textiles that were coming off, and I think this feels like another stage in the evolution of what you're working on. Can you maybe tell me about what it is that we're looking on and what you're currently interested in exploring with the materials that you're using at the moment?
Yeah, so...
Sorry, I couldn't think of a fucking organic way to wrench that question in. It's like, fucking get in there.
When I went back to Nigeria, I visited this amazing place in Imo State. It's called the Akwete Village. Lovely people. There are incredible ladies who have carried the Akwete culture and still have the Akwete culture with them. And I remember going to I think the British Museum, and I saw an Akwete fabric in there. I know.
Let's not ask too many questions.
Yeah, man, let's not go there. I started to research Akwete, and I realized that it was used for trading back in Nigeria, right? Nigerian women would make this incredible fabric and designs, and they would send it over to the Western world for trade. And it was very important to me because one of my favorite artists is Nengi Umuku, and Nengi Umuku used this sonyon, and it's a Yoruba pre-colonial textile. And also Michael Armitage, who uses his own cultural textile. So I was very interested in how my work can evolve to also carry culture as well. And visiting this village, I was really, really interested. I was really excited about what they were doing, and I also wanted to, in as much as support them, but also have this material and know what to do with the material. So they made a whole lot of it for me, and I took it down to Nigeria. I took it down to London, and I had it I had it here for like maybe 2 months before I realized, I'm tired of using canvases. There was no strong information or meaning to me using canvases. I wanted to use something that felt like home, that the whole work is encompassed with my culture and with a narrative that goes beyond just a painting, And so I was looking for how to display it. That becomes the problem. How can I display it? How can I make it work?
I've got an idea. I know what I want to do, but I don't know how do I execute this, and then eventually how do I make something that actually it's like I'm happy with this art object.
Yeah, exactly. So I tried different ways. I threw some of them back into the store, but when I started to stretch the canvas, I think that just happened without me knowing, and I was like, oh wow, that kind of looks cool. And it reminds me as well of Deeds Weave. Is it Dietrich? I forgot. Sorry, but Deeds Weave. His name is Deeds Weaves on Instagram, and he does this tapestry that has like this little puffs under, like extra fabric under, and I think that just caught my attention when I saw this thing I'd done, and I was like, oh, that looks like that, and that looks interesting as well. And then the Akwete fabric also has designs. You can feel texture in the Akwete fabric, and each of these designs means something. So this is about celebration, and it's something they wear when they are celebrating something, or when there is a party, or when there is a ceremony going on. So all of these things just came together, and I decided to make paintings on that, and then the texture showed, and all of these things that happened, and I just loved how it looked. And since then, I've just kind of gone through that part to just change my canvases. I don't buy canvases now.
So now this is permanent.
Yeah.
For now, at least.
For now, at least. Yeah. I'm enjoying the process a lot.
What's it like to work on?
It is. Maybe easier to work on, but it chops a lot of paint. It takes a lot of paint because it's a.
Do you have to treat it or anything like that?
Yeah, of course. I use I try to prime it and get it ready, and then I paint on it, and I just like what it does to the work. It makes the work less of a painting and more of like a sculpture. So the work now has like layers and layers of 3-dimensional things in it.
Yeah, and just elements. And is that something that you want to kind of continue pushing, see how far you can go with that?
Of course.
Suddenly you're importing pigment from fucking from ground up rocks.
I know. Can you imagine? Because I believe, one, I can paint on anything. Anything that I can paint on sand, I can paint on wood, I can paint on rocks. 2, I can prepare anything for painting. 3, I can display it anyhow I want to display. Like RCA showed me that nobody understood what they were doing. Like everyone was just doing what they liked and hoping that it turns out good, And for me, aside just doing what I like to push culture there. I like to push my culture there, because just talking about the fabric itself talks about Nigeria and talks about our culture. Talking about, the way it's displayed talks about the way masquerades, dress. They wear this huge fabric, and then there's this things that kind of drip down from the fabric. Always and in every way of the work, even the people I kind of represent are all Nigerians as well. Even though of course I started to represent new people now, new cultures now, but the work itself, I wanted to carry my culture. At the same time, I want it to be something I really, really enjoy doing.
Thank you for your time today, man.
Thank you so much.
Thanks once again to Ken for inviting me into his studio and for being so generous with his time and his energy. Whether that was the first or the 10th interview you've listened to with Ken, I hope that there was something in there that gave you a new perspective on not just his artwork, but just in life in general. That drive and motivation that lies at the heart of what Ken does is really inspiring to be in amongst, and watching him just continue to excel at what he's putting his mind to is genuinely just such a joy to watch. If you did enjoy this, be sure to hit us up over on the socials at Radio Juxtapoz. We'll put links to all Ken's work in the show notes for this episode. As always, we'll be back with you guys real soon. Till that moment comes, take care of yourselves and each other.